There's a new menace in Pioneer, and it's a dinosaur in a pool of water turning itself into dinosaurs that can win as early as turn 3. The deck's main power comes from Geological Appraiser, a 4-mana creature that discovers 3 when it enters the battlefield if you cast it. But before we get deep into the video, you've discovered it, so make sure you scroll down and discover the comment section and leave a comment down below on what you think of the deck and discover as a mechanic, and while you're down there, click on that subscribe button and leave a like on the video. Anyways, obligatory YouTuber plug out of the way, let's get to the real stuff. The deck is built so that it will always hit either Glasspool Mimic or Eldritch Evolution. When Glasspool Mimic enters the battlefield, it enters as a copy of any creature you control, so in this case it will enter as Geological Appraiser, and it will continue to discover. When you do hit Eldritch Evolution, you want to sacrifice any of your creatures to then cheat Trumpeting Connoisseur onto the battlefield to discover 5. This will hit either Glasspool Mimic, of which you will start having enter in the battlefield as a copy of Trumpeting Connoisseurs, or it can hit Geological Appraiser, which can discover into more Glasspool Mimics and Eldritch Evolutions. This will lead to an army of creatures that can easily win, especially since Trumpeting Connoisseur is trample and you have a giant board of copies of it and the original copies. But we still need to wait a turn, right? Wrong! That's because we have the 1-of copy of Doomscar Titan, which grants all creatures haste the turn it enters the battlefield. Since its mana value is 6, you won't ever hit it off of your Discover effects, and you can cheat it out with Eldritch Evolution by sacrificing any creature. As a note, you want to make sure your library has at least 1 Eldritch Evolution left in it while you're comboing, to ensure you can actually get the Doomscar Titan onto the battlefield when you're ready for it. Otherwise, your opponent may untap and draw into a board wipe, and your deck can do pretty much nothing to recover. But what if you drew the Doomscar Titan? Well, that's what the 1-of Jalta Stampede Tyrant is for. In order to get it out of your deck, you need to Eldritch Evolution one of your Trumpeting Connoisseurs, but this will vomit your Doomscar Titan from your hand onto the battlefield as well as whatever else is stuck there. These are both 1-of, so the odds of them both getting stuck in your hand is pretty slim. But how do we generate mana to combo quickly? That lies within the cycle of Izzet cards that cost 2 mana to discard to create a treasure token. These are all from Strixhaven, being Creative Outburst, Elemental Masterpiece, and Magma Opus. Notably, if you're really struggling, Creative Outburst can dig through 5 cards off the top of your library to find a combo starter. If you discard one of these, assuming you've drawn 3 lands, you can cast Geological Appraiser on turn 3 and start comboing off right then and there. There are a few other cards that have higher mana costs to ensure we don't discover into them, but I still have utility. Bedeck is going to be the main removal spell to keep us in the game early and shut down potential hate cards on a creature for just 2 mana. Since for Discover, it only looks at the more expensive of the 2 costs for split cards. Similarly, you can play Connive/Canuck to return a creature with Discover to the battlefield from the graveyard if it ever got removed or countered, or you can steal a creature your opponent has to use Eldritch Evolution on to get your combo going. Although you primarily want to use Trumpeting Connoisseur as a combo piece, if you drew into it, you can use it as a removal spell to deal 3 damage to any creature or planeswalker. It's especially nice against Khan the Great Creator after its -2 ability gets used, since it'll only have 3 loyalty left, and Khan shuts down your ability to sacrifice your treasure tokens. And Devotion decks can get Khan on the battlefield before you can start comboing off, so this is something that will come up. The sideboard has ways to keep our combo safe, as well as a few plans Bs. Miracelled Crab gives you a counterspell that you won't ever discover into. Reduce/Rubble, while you can discover into it, helps against control decks by locking down the ability to untap for a turn, and Sandra Awakened Inferno is another good choice against control decks to ensure you can close out a game with burn damage. Since sideboards change all the time, I'm not going to do a big deep dive into it, as the meta will always evolve and change what's needed in them. And that's more or less is how you play the deck. But how do you beat it? The biggest choke point is the Geological Appraiser play, especially if Trezor was used to cast it. It has to stay on the battlefield for the combo to work. If your deck discovers into Glasspool Mimic, it can't enter the battlefield if there's nothing on the board, as it will just enter as a 0/0 and immediately die. Similarly, Eldritch Evolution needs a creature to sacrifice in order to work, so if Geological Appraiser is gone, both will have to go in the hand rather than the field. And this is where a 50-50 gamble comes in. If you wait to play removal spell on Geological Appraiser, if it discovers into Eldritch Evolution, the window to do anything about it is pretty much gone unless they discover into another Glasspool Mimic, which has a lower chance of happening since the Connoisseur will have a wider discover net. However, if they discover in the Glasspool Mimic, you can play the removal spell on its cast, which causes them to not just lose Geological Appraiser, but the Glasspool Mimic as well, since when you cast it, it's locked in, you can't choose to put it back into your hand. It'll enter the battlefield, nothing to target, it'll enter as a 0/0. If you're playing with counter magic, it's kind of the opposite. You can still counter the Glasspool Mimic, but if they have another one in the hand, or an Eldritch Evolution there, they can use the Geological Appraiser that's still on the battlefield. However, if they discover into Eldritch Evolution, they lose out on getting the Trumpeting Connoisseur loops going, and the Appraiser on the battlefield to try again, so that kind of shuts down more consistent combos. Of course, you can also combo just the Geological Appraiser which while good, you also lose out on the chance to erase 2 combo pieces as opposed to just 1. I mentioned hate cards earlier for the sideboard, and there's a few of them. Commander players have read your eyes because Drannith Magistrate shuts this entire deck down. In fact, if it's getting a stat boost by say like Thalia's Lieutenant in a human deck, it becomes much harder for the combo deck to deal with. Speaking of humans, Thalia Guardian of Thraben is also a very good counter to the deck because it'll make all the Eldritch Evolutions cost 1 mana to actually cast, even though they're casting it for free because the tax doesn't apply to that. I'm talking about White a lot, and frankly it's because they have a lot of answers to the deck, including Settle the Wreckage, which pretty much completely shuts the deck down because all the creatures are going to be gone. It's also not bad against something like Convoke, so hey, that's an extra bonus. The End can also completely suck the deck down as well, removing the primary combo piece of either Trumpeting Connoisseur or Geological Appraiser, or even Glasspool Mimic. In the same vein, something like Necromantia shuts it down as well. Overall, the deck is very strong, but far from unbeatable. It does require you to have an answer early on in the game before it starts getting out of hand, but it is fairly fragile, and it's especially weak against control decks that are running a lot of removal and counter magic. But it's so fast and has a lot of combo starters that it can play through this sometimes with enough brute force. I've been JakePig, thank you for watching. I haven't really done this kind of video before, so if you enjoyed it, leave a comment down below letting me know, and any other decks you might want me to see me cover. And while you're down there, click on that like button and hit that subscribe button for more videos. Till next time, I'll see you then.